we'll meet tomorrow. Right? So how many times people ask the same question, but the meeting will always be there. So
there is another concept of open-ended questions and close-ended questions, which you often use to get the kind of desired response from your counterpart. So these are open-ended questions which make people talk a lot more and describe the entire feeling that they have. Close-ended questions are where you will get a definite response, such as yes or a no, a one-worded kind of a response, or a small sentence response. So this is a very useful technique if you want to hear more and spend some time.
And take the emotion out of
the person.
But increments and things are emotional topics. You can talk
about and economical too.
You can take them in the emotions. Check, so you.
It's about buying time, right? I have got a meeting, it will be tomorrow. At times, we all need to buy time, right? Because important as to how do you buy time. But we can tell them that I have an important meeting now, and then so I'm not going to speak with you now, I'll speak with you tomorrow, right? Same thing. This is very important for me to know as to what you're feeling. And I have 5 minutes, but I don't think I can make full justice to the question that you have in 5 minutes. But I would like to hear it out incomplete and make full justice. Can we do that tomorrow? Probably see a different kind of response from the other person now. So buy time, but then make sure that you're not just buying time. Your purpose is to make probably full justice to the
Remember that our purpose is not to answer a question. It is at that point the emotion is diffused and we can take a later time to discuss it.
Right.
So it can be a more productive discussion rather than just arguments.
Right. Another point to take here. Chirag sir is all competent with all strategies, so no point in negotiation with him. So it's just a joking part. So let's laugh a little more. Let's go. Mahinder. Oh, sorry. Aryan. It's all Jagabir. Aryan, let's go.
The reason behind it, we wanted to see, do you actually observe what's going on, or we are just doing it?
It's thinking on the feed, as they say. And just one thing before the joke, like Vipul sir was mentioning about that. When had I been an HR guy, the answer I could have taken the discussion to another level. That okay, who shared the percentage with you first? I need to know that. So taking the conversation to another level, another topic is another thing which can be done, but don't do that. Okay. So I'm the jester for the day. Okay, don't believe that. I'm the jester for the day, and here to tell the joke. So two friends, Ginny and Johnny, they live in US. So they thought, okay, it's a good weekend and bright day on Saturday. So let's go out and do some hunting. So they go to the countryside, they go for hunting, and then they're attacked by a bear. So Ginny knows how to climb a tree, he climbs up a tree, and Johnny is down there and attacked by the bear. They have a gun with them, but then Johnny is too frightened. So what he does is he has a mobile phone, he calls out to 911 and says that, we were going out for hunting and then I've been attacked by a bear, and he's so stressed out. Okay, so 911 person says, okay, is the bear gone? The person says, yes, he's gone. Okay, so you calm down. You first of all check whether your friend is dead or alive. So then there's a gunshot. Tha. He says, he's dead. Okay, thank you.
So let's go for extempore session. Let's call Gagandeep for this session.
A very good afternoon to all of you. So I'm your extempore host for today's extempore session. So anybody who is not aware of the extempore rules? Anyone? Okay, we got one. So I think you are attending this session for the first time. Okay, welcome to Doyen Club. Okay, so you will be given 2 minutes to speak on a topic. I will be showing you some pictures to come on here on lectern and speak out on those topics. So you will be given 2 minutes. A yellow card will be shown when 1.5 minutes is over, and a red card will be shown when 2 minutes are over. And you will be given a window of 10 seconds, around 2 minutes. So you have to finish your speech within that time to make yourself eligible for extempore awards. Is everybody clear about it? Okay, so moving on to our today's extreme theme. So we have social media with us to be discussed upon today. Anybody, what comes in your mind when I say social media? Sorry? Facebook. Facebook, Twitter, and WhatsApp. Anything else?
My first.
Remember your early times when something come up and social media just went on a peak or some height. Oh god, that was
MySpace.
I'm just hearing about it for the first time. MySpace.
Facebook replaced MySpace, so MySpace was something that.
वो 1947 में था.
He said earlier, right? Or MySpace was the one
Not
that-
that early. This when we are not born about. Okay. Okay. So let us welcome Facebook. So anybody who wants to speak on Facebook, you are always ready, man. Let us give chance to some. Yeah, please, sir.
Good afternoon all. Actually, when I joined Oceaneering, Facebooking led to many awkward moments for me. I used to sit beside the cabin of Dilip, and whenever I opened the Facebook screen, he used to come out the cabin. He caught me more than 4 or 5 times, and one day, consciously, I was watching for when he comes out, and I noted the time also. After lunch, he used to come out after my lunch, so I consciously avoided that. And that time he came out, and I was working on some project, and I smiled at him. Then I was very happy that I eventually opened the Facebook, and Harmik sir came to me with new joiners, and he said, Sangram, these are the new joiners, and he's Sangram, he is an engineering analyst, and he's working on, and he saw my screen. so okay, that was the funny part. Okay, so Facebook is a very good medium to give your well-wisher about your status, about your what you are doing, about your findings, about your achievements. But it gets sometimes it's irritating too. Some few people are very addicted to Facebook that they every day they post, I am eating this, I am having dinner at this, I am going for this place, I am going to this place and that place. So it is irritating sometimes. It is a very good search tool also. If you know some person's name, you can search it at Google and you will get that. You can get the love of your life also. So that is a very good search tool. So these are the so I guess yeah. So these are the things about Facebook. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you sir Dilip sir's timing?
Thank you, Sangram, for sharing those wonderful views about Facebook. And anybody else who would like to volunteer about Facebook? Please welcome, sir.
Good morning, everybody. As you know, that Facebook is a very good tool to communicate with your friends and to search the people who does not want to become our friend. And nowadays, Facebook is so much popular that it can be reason of your divorce as well as your friends' divorce also. So nowadays, people are so much addicted that they do not understand that they need to communicate with the person who is sitting in front of him rather than talking to a friend who is 1,000 miles away. So basically, this social media has increased the distance between two people. Like in a room, 4 persons, like mother, parents, and 2 children are watching TV, and the 4 people are using Facebook to communicate their friends rather than communicating with their family members. And nowadays, like even parents are also using Facebook. Thank you.
Okay, now some interesting facts about Facebook. Let me ask you, who is not using Facebook in office? Really? I'm asking who is not using.
In live also.
In
live.
I'm not
In
using
live.
after my marriage.
Okay.
You are using it for wrong reason.
Unless you find your friend.
Okay, so it's an interesting fact that only 3 guys out of this whole audience, those who are not using Facebook
Or one
in
way or
office.
lie.
Yeah, maybe that could be a lie also. So moving on to our next. Anybody who is not aware of this? This is the camera, but it's a logo for Instagram. Let
Well, I know what is kilogram. Can you explain what is Instagram?
me. Yeah. Okay. Let me explain you what is Instagram. Instagram basically is a site where you can upload your photos and share it with anybody else around the world.
Instead of updates, you have photo of it.
Just a tool to share your photos with anybody else.
Means one more time, plus.
One more. Okay, so anyone who would like to speak on Instagram? I have never used this tool in my life. Never. Anybody else who has used this tool?
Ashwini bhai.
You have used. So Nishu, please come. Can you please explain and share your views about Instagram?
A very good noon to all of you. Those who don't know me, I'm Nishu Sharma and I'm working as a component engineer. Well, about Instagram, there are many universities. Well, I'm a very good reader, so I read a lot of books, newspaper, articles, everything. So there are many universities who use this. If you want to get some scholarship, if you want to go for some kind of rewards that universities offer, what you need to do is just upload the picture of the bank or the entity that is offering you the money or rewarding you on Instagram, and you can get so many good things in rewards. Like I have got one thing, so I'm telling you, it's really very useful. But it's like if you'll go, you'll see that mostly universities are doing all these things. Universities or students, or I'm like that, so I'm just telling you. Might be many other people are using that also, but it's a good thing. You will never get bad things in Instagram. What my experience is, like Facebook, no craps are there. Thank you.
Thank you, Nishu. So I hope everybody is aware of what Instagram is. Anybody else who would like to? Anybody else who would like to share his thoughts about Instagram? Please.
So Instagram, as Nishu has mentioned, is a site where you can share photos. Just like we have Facebook, where you can share your thoughts, you can share your status, what you are doing. You have to use words, but as they say that pictures speak louder than words. So actually it's actions, but then pictures can also be used. So a picture is worth 1,000 words. So Instagram is a site where you can share pictures and you can express yourself using, like, you went to a place. Then instead of putting up a status and doing a check-in, you can just share a picture of that place, and then it has some features that it uses geotag, and it can tell where the picture has been taken, and so many different things. So it's good up to here, but then when it becomes irritating is that when you get to see what a person is eating. Okay, I have eaten half an apple, so the photograph will be there coming up on Instagram. So I think this is a problem with most of the social networking sites, that until you're using them within a limit, they are interesting. But what happens is, I read this quote, not a personal comment on anyone, but any person with a DSLR, any monkey with a DSLR camera in his hand can call himself a cameraman these days, using apps like these. It actually becomes a thing like that. You can use filters on this. Then people brag that, okay, you go on Facebook and there are pages by the name of anyone random, like Arihant Sharma photography. There will be Pallav Mehra photography. Everyone has become a photographer, professional photographer, using these apps. So it's a good thing. It's giving you tools to enhance your skills, but using them within a limit is something which is actually going to enhance your limits. Otherwise, it's a going to waste time for you as well as others who are there added on your profile. So using it wisely can be a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Arhant. I think that's all for Instagram. We will move on to our next topic. So here comes the old love. So all good. Totally wiped out from market. Totally.
Officially closed.
Yeah, officially closed.
I got a mail from them.
That was the only time when we actually impact our accounts, when we send a mail to locate access.
Okay, before going with the workout, I would just request our managers to come and speak over here regarding the Facebook craziness you have done in your life. Just think on it. You can come up with something. Sorry?
Will be a part of the
Yeah, it will be a part of external presentation. I would like to invite any of the manager who would like to speak something about Facebook. Okay.
I can talk about Facebook.
Sure. Okay, before that, I just want you to think on it. Give us some crazy things you done with your Facebook. And moving on to that, I would like to invite Soumya Chakrabarti to come and say something on Orkut. Please welcome Soumya.
Orkut. There is a certain sense of nostalgia associated with this name right now, right? I first heard about Orkut when I had joined college for my BTech for the first time. So that's around 2006. So at that time, you have to just think. I was still used to the idea that if I needed to send some message, I still had to write a letter. So I was still used to that idea when I got introduced to Orkut. Actually, I had come back to my hometown during one of the holidays, and my friends were asking me, "Haven't you heard about Orkut? And why don't you keep in contact with us through Orkut?" I was like, "I haven't even heard of this," and they treated me like some medieval relic, something like that. But after that, I remember Orkut was actually banned in our college because it was supposed to be distracting you. So you used to use all sorts of ways and means to hide the IP and do all those crazy things in order to access this. But it was a great thing, I think, actually, because everything, actually, if you see it like that, anything done within moderation is good, as Rihan said. But I always feel that if you have to be in sync with the times. These things, if technology is there and you're not using it, then there's no point of the technology being there. Technology is there to make your life easier. So all these social platforms started with Orkut, then Facebook, they help you to keep in contact with friends and all these things easier. So as long as you know the limit and you know where to draw the line, I think they are great tools. And we have to actually see even the great leaders of our times nowadays, they are using it. So it must be a very potent communication tool. So as I said, do it in moderation. It's a great thing to do. Thanks.
There's a difference between sharing your life and oversharing your life. I remember an Outlook profile which had a guy from Pakistan. He had his picture with tanks and AK-47s, my Mamu's AK-47, things like that. So we take that to the grave.
Thank you, Soumya. So I would like to invite any of the managers to speak on Facebook. Please, sir.
Right, so to be frank, I'm not a big Facebook fan. I'm not a frequent user either, but my wife is. She was a very big fan of Facebook, and she was using Facebook very frequently. A few years back, on her profile, we noticed a picture of somebody had shared a picture of a little girl with a message that we have lost her, and if you can provide some information and blah blah blah, these are the numbers you can call and so on, right? So what really struck us was that the person who was sharing this message was known to us, and it was his daughter who was lost. So we tried to figure out what has actually happened. So what really happened was that his daughter was kidnapped in Bangalore. And eventually when his daughter was found by the police, we figured out what was the mechanism that went behind the entire kidnapping. There was a pretty big role of Facebook in that kidnapping. So his wife was very frequent user of Facebook, and she would post the entire her entire schedule, almost entire schedule on Facebook. She would post a picture of the driver taking her daughter to the school, and she would even post her selfies going to the mall and so on all the time. My office is going, my husband is going to the office and so on. And she had several people who in her profile who she was not familiar with, and they were not her friends. So somebody had actually befriended her on Facebook and figured out her entire schedule, where her daughter studied and so on, and was able to execute that kidnapping just because of Facebook. So we should also be careful when we are using these social mediums and these things that are social media that is available, right? That's it. Thank you.
So that was good information for all of us. So we should be aware of using all these social medias. So I was having some weird expression from Bipul sir. Would you like to come and say something over here? Would you like to come and speak on Facebook? Or anything else, any social media? Okay. So now here comes the Twitter.
Can I speak about awkward for a while?
Sure, why not?
One thing is that I haven't declared the percentage. I haven't gone to Facebook because every year somebody else put some picture or something like that.
Okay. Hey, very good afternoon. Awkward. I think most of us have started our social media life using Awkward, right? And I did too. I started using it in 2006 or 7. I vaguely remember that. When I was actually on an official trip to Mumbai, and we were back to our guest house early. So one of my colleagues introduced that there's something like Awkward. Like, what is it? You don't know it? I said no. Then he opened Facebook, saw this Awkward window on his laptop, and then showed it. This is how it works. I said, okay. That night, I actually had a habit of sleeping at about 10 o'clock or so. But that night, I slept at about like 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock. I was surfing through Awkward. I was finding a lot of friends. I was very excited about Awkward. That was the first experience on Awkward. Right. Going forward, I became a fan of Awkward. I was sharing some of my life events on Awkward. I was learning about others' life events too. Then there was a time in 2008 or 9 when somebody told me about Facebook. I said, no, Facebook is no match to Awkward. It can't survive against Awkward. And I have a habit of going into details as well. And then I opened a database and I found that Brazil and India, they were the biggest market of Awkward at that time. In fact, Brazil was the biggest user base for Awkward. India was the next biggest base of Awkward user. And I showed it to him that, see, Facebook is nowhere in the competition, right? And then slowly it caught up. And it caught up in such a big way that Awkward was completely wiped off. And now it is shut down. So it told me a lesson of my life that things are never constant. Right? They're always going to change. Today we might believe that we talk about processes, right? We talk about doing analysis, we talk about doing designs. This is the way it should be. This is the base standard. This is the base way to work. Believe guys, there's always a better way which is yet to come, right? That's what I learned from this Awkward to Facebook thing, right? And one thing, just for information that I liked the most about Awkward, there still was a little bit of kind of Awkward was still having data secure. It was not so as public as it is having in Facebook. The data was still probably a little secure, which is not there with Facebook. It's all public now. Well, some experience that I had with Awkward, change is constant. Right. Thanks.
Thank you, Chirag sir.
Thank you.
So moving on to our next topic, Twitter. So who all are on Twitter? Just 2, 3, 4,
There
5.
are not two.
Just 5? Okay, it's basically belongs to a big people's social side, I would say. Okay, so anybody who would like to share his views on? Yeah. So can you name one guy who has taken the maximum advantage of social media?
Narendra Modi
and Arvind Kejriwal.
These are the two people who has taken the most advantage of this.
at the same time.
Yeah, in the recent
Who's
times.
been taken advantage of by social media, Shashi Tharoor.
Yeah.
And he has most fan following on Twitter.
Yeah.
Shashi Tharoor.
His career has
Started from.
because of Twitter.
Yes.
So I would like to invite somebody else who has not volunteered for any of the topics, please.
Actually, got up to talk about Shashi Tharoor's escapades on Twitter and some other people that I have seen throughout the years. Twitter did not work for me because it is a microblogging site and I can barely try to share my life one sentence at a time with people. People have actually made it a career. Social media people use it to spread messages. As I found out a few days ago that it has a limit of word limit of 140 words. Right, so many people actually formulate their taglines, their views, such that they can use those 140 words perfectly. I was seeing this amazing series last week tonight by John Oliver, and the guy is amazing. John Oliver, he's an amazing guy. Everybody should watch his show, and the guy uses hashtags in every show, and he releases one specific tagline in nearly all shows which meet that 140 character limit every time, which has a message. He talks about net neutrality and everything while being funny. So he's an amazing guy to watch out for. Shashi Tharoor, he was the guy who was royally bludgeoned by Twitter. He shared this very beautiful photo of him sitting in an economy class flight, trying to show how he is one with the masses, and he wrote I think if I remember correctly, his line was traveling in cattle class, and that was his downfall. He had to apologize for that statement, and he did not learn. People sometimes don't learn from their mistakes, and he kept on repeating things like that. And right now, from being Congress spokesperson, he's the most hated person in Congress. And you have to wrap your head around this. To be the most hated person in a party which is most hated takes a special kind of talent. So that's something that Shashi Tharoor really excelled in. But Twitter, again, there's a grandmother in UK, I think it's in Staffordshire. She is the person with the most followers and the maximum number of tweets up till I think 2014. A grandmother who doesn't do anything specifically special has the maximum number of tweets and the maximum number of followers in Twitter. She just shares her life. So that is something you can get from Twitter. Thank you.
So thank you, Ashwini. So do you think we have covered all the social medias with us? Is still something remaining? Quora, Skype, anything else?
WhatsApp.
Here comes the WhatsApp.
I have eye on you. Last same time.
Yeah, that the last scene sign has created a lot of trouble, I think, with the life of married people. I heard news that in Saudi Arabia, one guy got jailed because he killed his wife because when he phone called her, she asked that she's doing something, and she last seen her on WhatsApp. So they had a quarrel between them, and just that guy killed that lady. So
One person from our office actually got into a, I would not say fight, I would say scolding match with his wife where she found out that when he said that he was busy, he was actually chatting with a group which is his family group where his wife is also there, and she noticed that he was talking to his family member and not picking her calls. This happened with somebody from around.
Well, the same situation happened with me. I told my wife that
I was not talking about you.
no, I give opportunity to other people, but I would like to share my that event. I told my wife that for 1 hour I am going to in meeting, so please don't call me. And after 15 minutes, she called me and told me that your last scene is showing that after before 2 minutes you were online, and you said that 10 minutes before you were in meeting. So it was a very
Bane of married people.
Yeah. So be very, I would say, be very conscious and about you. Yeah. So anybody, I would like to invite that last man. I think this is your second. Yeah, this is your second Doyen's Club meeting. So I would like to invite you to come and speak on this WhatsApp.
Good afternoon all. My name is Samandi Bansal, and first of all I want to mention that WhatsApp is not so much bad, like as you said that last thing very, but you can have a privacy in this if you want, if you can use it perfectly. That there are privacy accounts, you can hide your last scene and you can show your photos to your contact. And WhatsApp is actually it's a big right now, as you've seen, every advertisement, every company like Flipkart and all other companies are going to social apps. That means they are moving to their platform, mobile platform, and because of this, that everybody today from this do not want to go for the web, and they just want to use their mobile, because the smartphones are increasing day by day, and people are using their smartphones every day. So it's a big medium to share your views, communicate with other peoples. And I think the biggest disadvantage is that when one shares their information, like some things happen in this district, some people were killed, and there were so many times, like in Punjab, just 2 days before, there were Gurdaspur district, there were terrorists, and now there is one information passing over the WhatsApp that 11 terrorists were missing someone, but the truth is that no one knows how many terrorists were there, and but people still are messaging, because this is a very easy way to share their views. So that's a big disadvantage, that people use it oftenly. So, and thanks.
So that's all from me. I would like to invite Pallav to take on this session further. Thank you very much.
Thank you. But I would say social media, these all sites are the worst discoveries ever.
right for married persons.
For all of them. For all of us. Because
Going by the definition, even oil and gas was the worst discovery as well. It's just about how you use it. Use it and it's not bad.
Having ISIS out there and calling anything else worse is not something that
it is just my perspective, because Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook co-founder, he's a billionaire, and Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg is billionaire, and by whose money and whose time? Indians are using Facebook, and because of which an American is getting billionaire. I haven't seen, refused Facebook because of the single point reason, because there was no Indian social site. I'm still searching for that. I'll be on some social site when an Indian will formulate this one.
you'll have a long way ahead of you. Long way.
Maybe.
But it is good to use Facebook instead of Facebook using you.
Right. Exactly. Right words. Right words. Very quickly. But you can't quote of the day.
Please don't send any more email. Okay.
I will share you.
So, time for evaluation. We didn't have any speech this time again, so speech evaluation is avoided. We'll call Ashwini for grammatis role.
Thank you. I would just like to reiterate my point that I put every day, that this is not an evaluation per se, more of my opinion of something that could have improved. That's it. For example, somebody mentioned we had, where he would have been better to mention we have. For a gesture or for a snafu counter, for a an introduction, calling somebody for a gesture, it is better that you call as a gesture. So he'll be performing this role as a gesture. That is what he should have done. Some things has to be observed. Should have been some things have to be observed, or you could have just said this is something that I'd like you to observe. The only positive point would and then you went on to mention about 6-7 points, so it would rather have been that let me enumerate the points that I have in front of you. Do some hunting is not something that you want to say. You say that I am going hunting or go for hunting, but not do hunting. You do not do hunt. We have social media with us to be discussed about today. It is rather that you should say we will be talking about social media. So it's kind of like it is. I have Pallav here with us, and I'll be talking about Pallav, and this is what's going to happen. So this is kind of a difficult formulation of a sentence. Very simple sentence, something that we want to share. We have besides the cabin of Dilip, you should have said beside Dilip's cabin. That's it. Besides the cabin of Dilip is incorrect. Give your well-wishers about what you want to say is I want to update my well-wishers with my information or anything and updates about my life with my well-wishers. Does not want should have been do not want. Thank you.
Now let's call Shaumin for general evaluation about the whole meeting session.
First of all, I apologize for the lack of tie. I have a very good excuse, but I'm not going into that. Rather, to talk about serious business of evaluation. First, starting with Pallav. One thing we have to realize here, the point here is not only speaking, we also have to train ourselves how to deal with the situations where there may be some mistakes. There were some problems with the BPT, but they were dealt with quite nicely, and we all had a good laugh about it. And everybody forgot about it. And nobody is thinking, okay, that was a sore point in the presentation or something like that. So that's very good. That was very well done. The demo video was, again, great choice of videos. You have to tell me where you're getting these videos. Amazing choice of videos. And even better point was we discussed about it. I think it's a good idea. Maybe we can take it forward in the future sessions also, where we are encouraging the others to participate and tell us what they think was correct or right or wrong about the video. Overall, overall it was a well managed session by you. You were properly listening to people, and there was nice flow between the different parts of the whole session. Only thing, just little bit grammar here and there you can work on. It will be amazing. Coming next, there was a new session taken by Ashwini. Again, I think it's something new which adds to the flavor of the session, makes it more interesting. I think it was great. And more importantly, this is a topic where we can actually really use the experience of our managers, because they have been as managers, you're managing problems, right? So they have a lot of experience about this, and we could really tap into their experience and use that for. So I think that was a very good idea. Just one small advice or request, that is, you were only, when you were asking questions, you're stopping and allowing others to say. But I noticed around 2 or 3 times Chirag sir wanted to say something, but probably you didn't, maybe you couldn't hear it properly or something, but you didn't stop. So you were actually stopping when you wanted to stop, when somebody was actually very assertively telling you that I want to say something. Since Chirag sir was not being very assertive at that point, so you didn't stop. So maybe we can all work on that and ensure that it's more reciprocated. Other than that, the next comes the theme host. good choice of topics and great participation from the people. I think overall I thought this was a very interesting session today because again, even the last one, because we are getting participation from people. People as nobody's sitting there, mum. Everybody's talking. So I think we got a few good points about how to maybe few good things to carry forward in our next sessions. That's all for me, and everybody keep up a good job. Thank you.
Now let's call for SNEFO counts. Ravi.
Yes, I'm Ravi Abuwala, your SNEFO counter for today. Let's start with the examples which the minimum number of SNEFO is used by Soumya and followed by Manish. Thank you.
I think SNEFO counts is somewhat similar to QC data. Number of drawings are less, more, but still errors count, right?
Again FPY.
Come on. I'm here to speak for 1.5 hours still. No. Let's see Pradeep Kumar for timekeeping. Let's see who all are eligible for extempore sessions.
Thank you, Pallav. Good afternoon, everybody. So, lot of nominations for today compared to last meeting. For extempore session, Sangram has qualified, Manish, Nishu, Arihant, Soumya, Abhijit, Amandeep. I'm afraid Chirag and Ashwini couldn't qualify. Coming to grammatist, he also qualified, but not the general evaluator. Thank you.
There was no speeches, so we won't be having as prepared a speaker, right? For extempore, we are still in creation of that form for the evaluation for the point wise. So for this session, we are not having this one. So no chocolates this time. That would have been done, but the percentage, sorry. Thank you. Thanks for the